Add me to the stream. There you go. I'm back. Hi, people. I don't know if anybody's there. I'm gonna just send this off to my. See here, content, video producer, my videos. This one, send you to. See here, export to public. But actually, so start export. Export to YouTube, which I already have it set up. I didn't get apparently any real. Oh yeah, no, I have 26 people on my past talking about easy stuff, past broadcast. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. I didn't even check that out. I never knew anybody was really checking that out. Truthfully, if I'm being honest, that's a whole thing. Yeah, because like a massively increased outright throughput of a clock cycle. That's just yeah, I do. Like it's all about just going over and calculating out the last number that you need to do. That's a yeah. No, so like that's it. Legitimately, like a single fucking like core that's a hyper threaded core would do more than like most people tend to believe, if I'm being honest. Which I don't really give a shit. It's like you don't, it's not, and yeah, and ah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Have whispers disabled? You don't step on them much, but it would be a challenge if you could just be. I don't know. That's not. I didn't even see that on my creator dashboard. Really? Yeah, I didn't. But then right? Yeah. Nah. Hey, I saw this way later. Sorry. Not very interested, truthfully. But thanks for the thanks for thinking of me. Reply. Right. So there you go. But yeah, no. I'm just checking to see if it happened to go into. And it is. It's processing. 10 minutes left. Sweet. Cool. That'll be done. So it's in before the new year, which is what I said I would do. 2022. I said I'd put out the basics of it. Nobody really ever watched it, but then I had one person or whoever the hell that was. Honestly, I wish they'd say hi. You know what I mean? Alright, so let me see here. Messenger. See if my grandpa wants to talk. It's like that's a thing, right? Yeah, that is though. It's a weird one for me because it's like it's just calling back to numbers that it has to work out, which breaks it open, which is a few bits at most. Most numbers are a few bits, like because if you're talking about 2 bits equaling what is the or a single bit equaling 2 bits, which equals like what is actually not what you think it is, because it's technically a 4 by 4 byte system for the new bytes, and then that 4x4 is several other bytes systems, because like 2 bits on each one of those 4x4s, which is 16, has broken up into 64 actually, really, because it's like what, 16 per each one of those two, and you have 16 total. You break it into 8 because you're dividing by 2, and then that's actually, each one of those is 4. A 4x4 is 16, so it's 8 times 16, which is actually, what is 8 times 16? Where's that calculator? Where's that calculator? Calculator! Calculator! Calculator, you bitch! Where are you? Fucker. You fucking slow ass bitch. Alright, so 128. That's 128 actual bits, which in its own right can be many more bits, actually, because like I can use each 2 of those bits in 128 again, should I need to be actually called back to knowing uncompressed another 2 times, or 128 divided by 2. 128 divided by 2, and you can keep scaling that up. So 128 divided by 2. 2 is 64 times 2. Where's that times button? X2. 128. No, wait. No, 16. That's right. Oopsie. So this is 128 divided by 2, and then multiplied by 16, which is 1,024 bytes. And then, like, again, divide by 2, and then multiply by 16 again, and you get 8,192, which is 8 gigabytes. And that only took 3 steps. Oh, wait, yeah, no, because it's like, one step is actually 128. And the next step is actually 1,000, and what did it say? 1,024. So, yeah, which is 1 gigabyte. So one single step is going to be more than enough for most people. So like 2 steps is going to be more than enough for the vast majority of people. And then 3 steps is now, 8 gigabytes of numbers. So it's in reality wise, an 8 gigabyte file that's just one number is pretty large. Let me go look that up real quick. 8 gigabyte file filled with one number. So how to create a file? So what number is 8 gigabytes in size? What number is 8 gigabytes in size? Thank you. 8, literally, so what number? Hey! Much RAM, so how much, so... I don't know what size number that's going to be. It's not apparently Googleable, but then it's compressed for me. So, like, that whatever number is now compressed to, like, whatever 2 or 1 byte happens to be, until, like, you actually need it to display that, which is now the number of bytes that you have to fill up. So it's a dynamic system that carries more memory the larger it needs to store. Larger and larger number sets. So, like, one number of a Euler's number, let's say it was 8 gigabytes. In one single file. Just the number, which it's probably not. But, like, honestly, it could easily be that way. So, like, whoopie-doo, that's kind of my biggest issue. Because it's like, technically, I don't even need that. But, like, if you needed to display that, then you need it to, like, know that. So, like, which is its own thing. Which is, it's kind of boring Like an 8 gigabyte file is a massive file. And I don't think like anything needs that size of a number to be displayed most of the time. But you never know. Yeah. But I think that's about it. You know, like, cause other than that, it's like, whatever, who cares, really, realistically speaking, you know, if I'm being really honest. Like, why would I go listen to all of this stuff? And I'm like, because you should listen to all of that. Like, that's what that's about. You know, not that anyone really ever listens to anything. Good shareable link. Yeah, no, I had one person that watched my stream, so like that was a thing, I guess. And I lost them. I lost them. Not that I really seem to ever think about that, truthfully. Really, I mean, it just keeps going and getting like whatever large value into a single zero byte. Yeah, which is the reason why like it matters. You know what I mean? Oops. Can I edit that? So let me just reply to that real quick. Boopity. Yeah, no, but see, the main point of it is that it doesn't exist right now. It's pretty simple design, though. So, like, that's all that really is. Actually, technically speaking, it's not that hard to design it. Um, and I'm trying to. I'm just slow. You know, and I'm gonna do it. I don't want anyone else to do it, or if I want to work with other people to help me do it. You know, but that's direct one-on-one, not whatever else that might be. So, hey, I don't know who that streamer, that person that joined my stream is, but like, thank you very much. The imaginary friend, you know, that I always seem to have. That's a joke. That's a good joke, actually. It's a good joke. Oh my god. Anyways, but like, yeah. So it's a god level computational AI for like a single two cores. It would be really really amazing at being able to make this work. But I'm, you know, and it's all based upon an operating system I have to design, which has to be massively compressed and everything. And it's all actually kind of complicated to learn. You know, like having someone to actually like explain some of this stuff, like how it is that they happen to be working or using it. Because it's like, oh, I can run Python, but Python isn't necessarily intuitive, and it has a lot of issues to me for like how to run it. Like print. Why do people use print? Display is such an easier word, and I don't want it in the command line. Where's the GUI? What happened to GUIs? Why aren't GUIs a thing? Like, dude, why aren't GUIs a thing? So that's the thing. But like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, there's no real way of getting around that. You know what I mean? Right. I need a tweet that I'm streaming. Hit the settings button on my thing. Okay, it's not the right thing. All right, tell me how I sound, by the way, because that would be nice. Like if I sound good, that would be a good thing. You know. Let's tweet real quick about my streaming. I have so many people following me on Twitter that are just bots, and it's kind of sad, and I'm sad about that. All right, so that got sent. But seriously, though, live viewers, Xenon reality. It's just me watching myself these days. You know, uh, I know, right? Right? Yeah. I've been trying to get this freaking Python streaming thing to run, and I couldn't get it to run. I'm actually genuinely sad. Like I'm telling it to run tests, and it's like, no, I don't know where that directory is. I'm like, what the fuck? How do I put it into that directory? I don't know. I don't even know where to get it from that thing. It's like, why did you download it to that? If I told you to download it, why didn't you download it into the thing that uses it? And it's like, no, I don't know. I don't care. Fuck you. I'm like, who the fuck designed this? Who are you? I want to hurt you, whoever you are out there. You know what I mean? Like, I actually do, though. Like, that's a problem I have. It's kind of not great. I am kind of violent sometimes on that end. But then other times it's like I've tried talking, to things, and then it's like realize like people just aren't gonna do things. They're not gonna help. They're not, you know what I mean. Sometimes you have to be forceful about stuff. So that's a weird one, you know. Isn't that kind of strange? Anyways, when am I gonna get my own fucking computer? Really? You know what I mean? My own AI. When am I gonna do this? I need to do this for myself. Like just this project alone is a good idea, and I'm tired of not having it. And I don't know why I can't get myself up and running like every day to do it. And I wanted to consistently stream, but then the whole reason why I was trying to get this Pi live stream thing is because on through GitHub is because like this has a 20-hour time limit. Like 20-hour time limit is like fucking shit. Like I can't do anything off of a 20-hour time limit. And so they're like, "Oh, just run Linux." Like how to live stream, how to stream off of Chrome on Chromebook, and they're like, just run Linux, and I'm like, fuck you, no. Like, and then it's like, oh, set up Twitch Go, and it says open your Chromebook, install FFmpeg and Node.js runtime. The Twitch Go server will assist you in creating the extension, which you can then load into Chrome. Open Chrome extensions, go developer mode, click load unpacked. Then choose the folder that contains the extension. Chrome will handle the rest. Fuck you. There's no fuck you. Like, stupidly, there's nothing that says that I can do that. And I'm actually really annoyed. And then they're like, oh, Melon, which has like a 4-hour time limit and you can't stream anymore. And then it was like, oh, Reflector. Use a mirrored service to if your Chromebook is very inexpensive and incapable, which it's like, yeah, sure, thanks. That's exactly what I have. And then it's like, right, but I can't pay for any of that. And then it was like, oh yeah, no, you either run OBS through installing Crouton, which wipes out your fucking like Chrome OS. So it basically says, fuck Chrome OS, run Crouton instead. Go with Linux. And I'm like, sure, let me just fucking not do that, because no, what the fuck? Who wrote this? And then it's like, oh, Twitch Grow. Independent developer. Doesn't say which one, doesn't say who, doesn't say where to get it. And then I'm like, cool. And then it needs to be manually compiled. I'm like, what? And it's like, oh, these things, just do this stuff. And it's like, fuck you. Whoever wrote this doesn't understand the slightest bit about, like, actually helping someone learn something. Like, there's genuinely, you need to figure out how to put the work down instead of just saying, do that. Because, like, you're actually trying to help people do something. Like, that's not how to teach someone anything. It's just saying, you can do these things, which are not something you know how to do in any way. And assuming that someone does, or assuming that they're going to be able to learn to do that, is a false positive at best. And then it's like, oh, but by the way, do this actually one that you can do, and then this other one, I don't even know what that is, but yeah, I guess. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what who wrote this? And it's like, Amanda something or other. Really? Amanda Silberling. Whatever. And it's like, cool. Twitch Go server, doesn't it give any links to it? What server? And then, no, there's no Twitch Go. Like, I can click on this all you fucking want. And it's like, it's not going to go there. There's no Twitch Go server. I fucking try to find this thing on Google, and it's like, nah, fuck yourself. Download Twitch Go. It's like, what? What? What's Twitch Go? And it's like, it's a Chrome app. And I'm like, oh, it's a Chrome app? It's a Chrome app, huh? And then I'm like, oh, right, yeah, no. But then I installed the Chrome app. I think regular Twitch, you know. But it's like, they don't have Twitch Go. I'll tell you that much. Search for that before. Doesn't have it. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, yeah, oh. So it's like, whatever the fuck Twitch Go is, it's like, I don't know what the fuck that is. So it's like, okay, whatever. Nice, useless fucking thing that you've given me here. But it's not. See, the problem is I know that they're writing something that's true. You know what I mean? It's like, there is a Pi, based Twitch streaming app, which is called Pi Livestream, which I currently have been trying to get to run, but I can't get it to run. Because, like, oh, yeah, no, I have a Linux distro developer mode that's like, I don't know where this is. And also, none of that is anything. And I'm like, what? So I've brute forced my way into the point where it's like I'm banging my head against the table because legitimately it doesn't show me anything. Yeah, and I mean that. Like, it actually doesn't actually show me anything. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've searched all the terms. Like, I'm tired of searching on Google just to fucking figure out what the hell is going on. Because it's like, oh, change directory. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't do that. It's like fucking syntax error. I'm like, it's written I copied and pasted the fucker. It's like syntax error. Then I'm like, I'm writing the PowerShell fucking line, syntax error. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the hell is the syntax error? Doesn't give me anything. There is no syntax error. There should be no syntax error. But then it's like, no, actually, you do have one, and I'm like, that's bullshit. There's no way I still have one. I'm copying and pasting. I'm even using the stupid little shell extension thing, you know, because apparently I'm running it through a shell command, you know, and the Linux distro that's on developer mode for Chrome. What the fuck? It should work for you, right? Yeah. And then it's like, nah, I don't. And I'm like, thanks. Thanks so much. Fuck you too. Fuck you massively. Right? Yeah. Which is just abysmal. It's abysmal. It's stupid. I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do here. Like, I mean that. Yeah. So, like, you know, that's just something I've been dealing with. Like, my depression's been huge. But then it goes away because, you know, I don't want to focus on my depression. You know, so I kind of put it in the back of my mind. But it's like, you know, sleeping for 15 hours isn't normal for me to do. Staying awake for 24 plus hours isn't normal for me to do. You know, and like then there's the other issue that I keep having all the time as well with my own regular everyday, you know, with my therapist and then like you know, my clinic and having nothing that I can actually do to focus on except for this fucking programming thing, which like if I don't have a project to work on, which I don't really have a project to work on, I don't really want to do anything. And like truthfully, I don't really want to work on this project only. I want to fucking like have a life. And online, I know for a fact, isn't like something I want to do. I don't like online. I want to actually visit people in real life, get to know them, all that stuff. But it's like, do you know what I get in real life? Nothing. I get nothing in real life. I have no money. I have no ability to actually find anyone and get to know them, which I don't. I'm tired of hearing you do. You know, like, and then the you know, plasticity or niceties, not plasticity, the niceties, you know, platitudes that are from others that are like weak sauce kind of advice. Oh, you'll find someone. You just gotta keep blah blah blah. Like you know, the pansexuality, polyamory is not gonna help out on that one. You know, and then there's the other problems too when it comes down to like you don't have money, you can't go places, you can't find people. And going online is another problem of that because, like, I had a whole Reddit debacle and a half where everybody was just fucking stupid and acting massively toxic. So I don't know what the hell to deal with any of that, you know, because it's like, oh, so you talk to someone, and it's like, no, you can't really talk to people. You can keep trying to do it, but it's like, you know, the fact of the matter is people are kind of weird. They don't really show up. They don't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, you know, they pretty much just ghost. Everybody's really immature about ghosting. And I'm like, if you don't tell me anything, then I can't figure anything out. Which is such a fuck you. You know, that's very immature. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff with that that's currently going on with me that's like not great. What time is it? 8:38 still. Wow, I don't want to do this anymore already. Like, I'm not really sure what I really want to talk about. You know, I kind of like did all these other things for like design concepts because it like was helping me at the time. You know, work through a large amount of my depression, anxiety, stress, PTSD, ADHD. Can hidden variables save quantum physics? You know, it's not a hidden variable when it's just a field. And converting like a given energy potential into something else that's a particle or a field extension. You know, or like more power as in an amplitude given you know, design. Like it's a very short electromagnetic field, but it is extraordinarily powerful. You know, its amplitude got increased. So it's like that's another problem I'm having. You know, with that. Heat generation above break-even from laser-induced fusion also deteriorated reported as... fuck off with these guys. Really? And inertial confinement can be helped along pretty fucking simply by just making it better. Like, this is the problem I have with fusion. First off, entanglement and superpositional, designs that happen to oscillate, or change frequencies correctly for the given particles, atoms, let's say. I don't need them to be there for very long. In fact, I'm not looking for it. I want them to collapse quickly together. That's how a quantum tunnel effect occurs. There's a certain level of entangled superpositional parts that are like, oh, I'm super close, and so it'll quantum tunnel together. And if you put enough fusion, like if it's close enough, with enough heat, and then like inertial confinement, laser, but also a particle acceleration, which gets a boost of like creating that inertial confinement style, then you happen to have it swarmed by a very large, dense array of, basic bitch levels of entanglement. We're not even talking about fully entangled. We're not even talking about fully superpositioned. We're talking about basically they're willing to quantum tunnel as they collapse, which is very small amounts. And they do that. It's all about the fact that they are so close together, that's what their field conversion happens to do. Instead of collapsing into like a spin, blah, 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 it collapses into, oh, I'm right next to you, actually. And so that's the problem I end up having with these garbage designs for fusion. I have to create so much heat that it literally creates the plasma, equivalent of a vibratory oscillative effect, because it's so consistently the same level of potential kinetic energy. Which it's like, don't you know that like that doesn't blah 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 happen, blah blah blah. And I'm like, hey, quantum physicist, I could give less of a shit about what you think. But it would be too hard because 0 is the least amount I can do. So I can't do less. It's the truth, though. I don't give a fuck about what you say or think, you idiots. This is simple fucking stuff, man. You're talking about tiny milliseconds of time that you need to do this for. It's stupid amounts of small amounts. You don't need very much to make it happen. You don't even need full entanglement or superposition. It's so annoying that they think they do. And it goes, I'm now next to you. We are now fusioned. Now come over here. Now push this one to fuse together. Boop. Alright, now they are fused. And that's all that is, really, if I'm honest. Same thing with like the quantum tunnel effect. It's like, oh, slightly entangle, slightly superposition, quantum tunnel effect, teleportation kind of style. That's all it does. That's how the birth of a star happens to continue doing its thing. It's like at first it like needs the heat and pressure, and then like it spins and oscillates by creating electromagnetic fields that happen to oscillate and everything very, very, very consistently. And as they fuse, they create a very similar oscillating wave, And so you create more and more of this fusional quantum tunnel effect until eventually it compresses enough that it has enough heat, and then everything else, then it starts to grow. You can't do it without that. Yeah, you have to have that. If you don't have that, then it never does anything. Yeah, no, because if anybody looks at the actual astrophysics for like how a birth of a star is created, it doesn't work. The Q value is too low. It spreads itself out too quickly. It doesn't have the least amount of pressure for the maximum amount of actual heat gain. Because it'll just push shit out, and then it has to fall back in and push that, and then like it basically gets to a size that it just will diffuse effectively. Yeah, because otherwise it's just particle accelerational, effects until it goes to like why the fuck am I still doing this? You don't have enough heat to push me together. You just get a ginormous core of fucking iron before you'd ever get anywhere else. Yeah, that's how that works. Even though, like, they're like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, you're an idiot. How the hell would that work? That's how I imagine they would look. But I'm not. I'm really just mimicking them, if I'm honest. Whatever connected thing that happens to be. I'm like... Like, really? Really? You don't know how the quantum tunnel effect has to be achieved? You know, heat and pressure doesn't create a quantum tunnel event. If we did, then we'd be able to see that with a fucking chemical exothermic reaction potential energy change. And we don't see it. Well, it's because the heat and pressures aren't enough. Yeah, what is heat and pressure really? Kinetic energy? And it's like, right, because the quantum... But it can't do that until it gets enough heat and pressure. How does the birth of the star happen, idiot? Well, actually, wait, yeah, how does that work? And it's like, finally decided to take a look. Really? Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, people really don't understand. It's like, that's a ginormous gaping hole in how bursts of stars happen. They need to have a certain level of superpositional entanglement that, like, basically puts them inside. Like, they're already technically entangled as an actual pair. That's how that works, yeah. It's like, it's an oscillatory entanglement, but then it's like superpositioned, and then it's like, I break my superposition to be entangled as an oscillating pair, which is now one thing, which gives you your heat because there's resistance, you know, which gives you a potential kinetic energy change, conversion in the standard model. It's just quantum physics. Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's pretty simple stuff, if I'm honest. It's like really, really simple, easy to figure out. Like, that has to be happening. Logically speaking, it has to be there. If it's not there, then it doesn't work. It simply pushes itself out too much, too fast, too often, too little density, too little not there enough stuff. It's not going to collapse and spin without being able to have enough density, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, as it spins and rotates, it needs to collapse, but then, like, that collapse pushes out, but it actually can't push out because it needs to be denser than what it actually is currently for that to be the case. It needs to be way too large for what actually starts fusion. Yeah, no. Otherwise, there's not enough heat. This is my problem with, like, the astrophysicists that don't understand quantum physics. Like, once it gets to a certain size, it's like we would start seeing Jupiter fuse. All you have to do is pump enough heat into it, and it'll do it, right? But it's like, actually, that doesn't work. You need a certain value of exothermic energy already there. As it falls, it gains, but it needs more light, it needs more heat, it needs more than what you're seeing is feasible for it to actually create a star. Yeah. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's like, it's compressing with electromagnetics. I'm like, yeah, no, a tokamak design, but you see how well that works. It's not getting to that heat. It's not getting to that hot. It's nowhere near the No, it's nowhere near the surface temperature of even the sun. Once it starts to compress and spin, that's not what it's at. That's the problem I have with them. I mean that, like legitimately actually have problems with people like that. Because it's like, it's not actually that hot. Like, the given actual heat value, kinetic energy, gravitational potential to kinetic energy heat, and then also the fact that you're talking about a particle accelerator that has a luminosity that's abysmal with the size that you're creating here. Not to mention the rotational inertial effect, which is also being held back by a literal tokamak. That's on the inside, sure, it's hot and heavy, but then, like, really? Is it though? And not to mention, that's still a repulsive electromagnetic effect, which doesn't actually fall in. It wants to push out things, which doesn't work. It just doesn't. So you have to have a certain amount of quantumly entangled superpositional levels of energy being involved in the creation of a star. Otherwise, it doesn't quantum tunnel enough. It just doesn't. Which I guess some people really think will work, but it doesn't. There's not that much heat. You just can't do that. But, what am I supposed to do? Like, most people, layman people, don't really know that. But, like, quantum physicists know that. Certain astrophysicists do. And that's, like, the prevailing theory of how a star is created. You have to have that. Like, otherwise it doesn't work. They just don't know why it happens to happen. And it's like, well, that's because of the light oscillative effect, the explosive oscillative effect, and then the electromagnetic version of the oscillative effect, which produces a entanglement, and then like enough of the density and everything else creates a superpositional oscillating together effect, which then wants to quantum tunnel it together, creating another fusion event which pushes others in, and then you get your overarchingly greater amount of fusional energy potential, which then has the ability to grow and sustain itself over time and continue gaining more and more outright heat and energy potential until it starts to just gather based upon gravity, as it's now sustaining based upon the heat and pressure its actual continual fusion. But without that effect in the initial stages, it just doesn't work. It'll always disperse. So, alright, so what is this guy? Some Aprila VTP9. So, hey, you want more followers and views? Pay us and we'll give it to you. I'm like, nice job, man. No. I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you for being an utter shit person, and definitely, by extension, having a lot of people ultimately look a lot better. You piece of shit bot person that was made by some other piece of shit. You know, that kind of thing. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's how that works. Like, major physicists know about this. It's the prevailing theory, which isn't really a theory if we're being honest. We literally use this as an effect to achieve greater degrees of fusion in certain designs currently is not really what I can say, if I'm being honest. To put it in perspective, actually, there are no fusional designs. That's one of the reasons why I have problems with that fusion design. It's like inertial confinement is just trying to push something really too damn hard for what it is. It's not entanglement at all. It's not superpositionally entangling either, which a superposition will drop its superpositional state to be together when they're entangled and together as one when they're properly moving towards each other. That's the compression style. When it's outward bound or it's staying still very cold, it happens to just stay with either what it is or as an altogether one type of thing, Bose-Einstein condensate. So like when you compress it and it's hot, it'll join forces as a kinetic energy potential change. That's the conversion field it happens to go through. Anyways, I have to go pee real quick. So one of my designs happens to take advantage of a given entanglement, which is a quasi-particle fusion reactor. That quasi-particle fusion reactor concept is going to take advantage of entanglement, because like if you don't use entanglement during its acceleration for its particle accelerational fusion design, which I don't want to have to increase the luminosity. I want individual particles, so I force it by creating an inertial confinement laser area where it cannot be, but it also happens to force into a tighter area in space, so that way an individual particle is now going to fuse. By effectively creating a very tight, hot, dense area where it can only ever be, and it's in an entangled enough of a superpositional state that it creates a fusional event. And basically I do the same thing with my larger, more intergalactic design, which is more of a larger oscillative electromagnetic field, like a tokamak area that creates a and then lasers together with it, and then as it comes in, where the initial particle acceleration, which is using another version of the inertial confinement in the X area, and then it goes up to these other X areas, which is a double helix design, tokamak. It's a John Tyler Lemke design, effectively. It happens to use that effect to collapse and then create a greater degree of fusional potential, which then creates another fusional inertial confinement as the electromagnetics are a lot less needed to accelerate and heat up to much greater degrees of heat to be able to fuse. And so as a result of it oscillating back and forth, using that potential energy as a form of oscillative superpositional entanglement, but also increased heat and speed, mass potential, and luminosity potential, it eventually wraps it around and creates its massively greater amounts of heat and pressure and inertia, which is eventually basically like what a star will do. As the star increases its size, its potential heat and given energy to make this quantum tunnel event inertial conversion, its potential energy into a tunnel energy, it basically runs like a star. As it goes out the rear end, it's basically doing another version of that. And using an entangled design, as it spins, it's creating a very specific spin, a ring spin, and then a funnel through, and then a funnel on the outside, which not only creates my very directed, very specific directional radio, electromagnetic, other wave formations, we're also creating a entangled sectional area which will fuse a very large degree of energy, not energy, atoms, at that point. And as a result, you have to deal with the fact that, like, without that bell end shaped that way and doing these things, it just doesn't work quite as well, and it doesn't travel very fast, because it wants to spread back onto you in search of electrons. But this one, it doesn't need electrons. This one, it fires off at a very particular direction, and using light with the amount of heat and then the amount of lasers that we fire out at the back as well towards the plume, which create our electron pressures, which it's like, you don't. And I'm like, yeah, well, technically speaking, it's really a proton. You know what I mean? It's really a proton, but like a proton, it like wants to turn into, after it's diffused enough, an electron, which is one of the reasons why radio waves directed things and went off in the direction of their electromagnetic wave directionality. And so, as a result, all it really does is after it diffuses a certain amount, it'll break up. because there's enough neutrons, there's enough heat, there's enough other bullshit that it basically creates a light pressure wave. But like, I don't really need the light pressure wave. I have particle accelerators that I could just fire electrons back on the bell and rim, but like I never really do that. It's just never really needed. It's just not. So I don't know. But the point is, it's a great concept. It works beautifully, you know. But like other people are not very, who are not very well versed in what it is I'm talking about, will assume that I'm wrong, you know. And so uh, they look idiotic to a lot of people that are actually kind of PhDs and know a thing or two about this. Um, which is one of the reasons why it's like it's usually not something a regular person can just sort of look at and know. Like you have to be pretty smart. You know, you have to have enough knowledge on this. You can't just say it doesn't work. That's what that is. But like, yeah, it's a fusion design that works really exceedingly well. You know, but it's very boring. I mean, it's not, but it is. It's not, but it is. Not and is. That's a whole other problem, though. It's like, what am I really doing at this point? Not trying to be mean, but like, what is it that I'm really doing? Because it's like, I'm not letting anyone else take my designs. No one else is watching me. No one else is allowed to do this. No one else is anything else. You know what I mean? And it's like, who the hell would be there other than idiots that don't understand? You know? But then they're not. So, like, you know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean we're idiots? And I'm like, well, more than likely, you're not someone that really thinks anything other than, like, illogically, overreactively, and violently. And you fully believe what you're saying to be true, even though it's not. Which I found on the Reddit community espresso, which was a wonderful PhD piece for me. It's like, let's just explain how it is they're doing this and show how it is they're doing this and so on. And I could turn that into one, but for me, it's my own thing. Like I'm not what other people might expect. You know, like I don't have the ability to go into school, and I don't have the money. It's just, who the fuck designed it that way? By the way, only rich people can be smart. That's kind of unintelligent. But like then specializations, exclusionary people will agree, blah 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 stuff. But like it's pretty easy to see, and like that was one of my theories. It was like, oh, I'm going to test this out and I will explain this way, and then I will see them react poorly, and then like use these paramoralisms, use these other justifications, use these many other different things, even though it's a non-controversial subreddit. It's non-politically motivated or charged, and that would ultimately be my example given. One of them, I've done it a few times as a way to show off that they tribalize and become idiotic thanks to a mob rage mentality. But with a few exceptions that ultimately are uh, seemingly a little more intelligent to just more open minded and willing to be okay, with someone just doing something, which is the reason why a 60-40 rule isn't applicable anymore for certain given ideas, we'll say, or viewpoints. So that's one of the reasons why like a 60-40 is not actually really a good rule, which is 60% are willing to talk, 40% are very dead set. And it was like the Reddit community is a wonderful part of explaining like who, once you get them into I'm actually not on camera, I have a little bit of an enemy, I'll expose exactly how shitty and real people think are, you know. Um, how they really think and how they really are, which is the majority, actually, unfortunately. So like that's what that is. But broad potential energy for like a given, fusional design is kind of boring. You wouldn't use it for that. I'd have too much energy potential to really. I mean, my other design is basically stick a ginormous degree of very efficient rerouting. It's essentially how I like to call it. So it's like, okay, so I'll take what this potential amount, because it takes forever to build it up to not really forever, but it takes a while for it to build up to the point where it's just iron plasma coming out, like majority wise iron plasma, which doesn't take very long, but it takes a while, few hours at most. But like that's why it's for a engine meant to travel intergalactically, especially when you can utilize a basic wormhole system to turn like your skin into a exotic material, farm. It's exotic matter particle shit. You just squeeze it and it poops it out into your engine, giving you your exotic material expansional energies, which is just really boring. But it's not. I mean, it's very, very, oh wow, yeah, 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 super cool. I've had it forever now, so you don't understand. As a person like myself who's ADHD, it gets very boring very quickly. But really easy to design, you know. But like whatever after a certain point. Um, but like potential energy is extraordinarily high. I use very little energy and it sustains itself. Like I really just need to keep sustaining the wraparound effect. For me, it's like it's a wraparound effect. It's like, oh yeah, no, I just push it through and I put, and then I shove more, given much colder hydrogen, which is basically stopping it from fucking like exploding and dying. As you use like cold hydrogen, which is to it cold. Like to you, it's not very cold. It's thousands of degrees, but to it, it's like, oh yeah, no, because we can handle like 1,000 degrees Celsius plasma, no problem. But like the core is hundreds of millions, if not more, degrees, and like pressure value wise, we're talking core temperature, core of the sun, core of the sun, not core temperature of Earth. Anyone who thinks it's the Earth, it's like I want to beat them over the head with a fucking goddamn hammer. It's like you're too stupid. Shut the fuck up. Just listen and stop talking. Like you have no idea. It's like what the fuck are you on about? You are an idiot. You need to shut up. You have to remember that there's a given surface volume, and so a given surface volume increases the actual energy potential in that because it's a smaller amount, and you can increase that. As it wraps around, you gain ever greater increases of fusional energy potential, which keeps heating up the core. Eventually, you get to a very slowly matured, very easily made into fusion iron plasma, which, when you're talking about a quasi-particle fusion reactor, it's just a branch tree that goes into the point where it's like a small amount of fusion, and then like you blow it out the fucking rear end. But you don't need to push like for the intergalactic, which is what I was using it for like huge hundreds of thousands or millions of people in a given spaceship. But a quasi-particle fusion reactor, it's like 12 to 20, which is what it's meant for. So, that's what that is. It's hyper efficient. I can put it out of a small little bell end and just shove faster and faster amounts through it. And it's already traveling relativistic speeds. And it's so much heavier than xenon, it wouldn't make sense to ever use xenon. So, And I'm not really looking to gain so much fucking electricity. I was like, no, I don't need that. That's actually irrelevant. I don't want that. I only need enough to sustain my shit. Like, I don't need enough electricity here to run like that kind of a fucking system. But like, for an intergalactic hundreds of thousands, millions of people, it's like I have more than enough heat just from the fucking thing doing its job by like making the heat of the outside housing turn into its own version of a steam and like, kind of miniature micro steam, engine stuff. But like if you want to like turn it into something that's on the ground, pushing out relativistic speeds of like iron plasma, I don't know why the hell you would want to, but it's dangerous as fuck to do that. Why would you do that, first off? But it's the most efficient design part. It's like once you get to iron, it's like it's done. Like you can't gain more energy back. Like anything else, right? So like it's kind of boring, and it's not a perfect iron on that. Although my quasi is perfectly iron, but like that one, it's like I get like 5 more. Or I get 3 plus more than iron, and then 5 behind underneath iron. Elemental, and so like that's kind of boring. But it's really, really a good deal for something like I don't know. Ginormous intergalactic engine, which I can still run as the exotic material wormhole captures, which is like, hey, that's a hydrogen going into my engine. It's also like a lot of like cosmic radiation and everything else that goes into my engine, and so like I don't really need that. But then it's like, oh, right. But then it's like, that's also my exotic. And so, like, if I oscillate the exotic size hole, I get, or not exotic size hole, wormhole, I get an exotic matter. God damn it. My fucking nose is itching my ass off right now. I'm so sorry. You guys don't need to see that. It's just like, I don't know, maybe my cat, because she's sitting in my chair, like my nasal spray decided to be like, nah, I don't want to work anymore. That kind of thing. But like that's a You see my shaving cut mark. And this one too, and over here. That one. Anyways, what was it? Oh, right. I gotta, which is just, putting it through a field. If you don't know, like, to filter it, it's a field, like ionic fields from Sharper Image. Like it's like an electromagnetic field, and then like you spin the electromagnetic field in a particular way that gives you like it from, and then that means you can separate it with charge values of like negatives, positives, and so on, and then that allows you to shove it into the right areas to decrease, sizes of where your fusion is happening, so that way it fuses faster, and then you get like your expansional collapsing exhaust, where your plasma is, which is a really easy thing, I think, to do. Shouldn't be hard. I just dump it in there, and it's just gonna do it faster. But see, the thing is, the faster you go, the better it gets. So you want to usually get up to about that 60% mark where the start of the exponential starts to happen. But really you can get it around 25. And then like at that point, like it just continually expands more and more. And then eventually you get to the 60% anyways. And then you get, which is relativistic, because you can go faster than the speed of light. But then you're only pushing up to 25. But then it's going to collapse and push you. And so like collapsed, and it's like always pushing you. So you get a thrust instead of expansion all the way behind, which is always stuck to you. You get a thrust, and so like you're thrusting, even though technically speaking, you never did anything except you were pushed. You're gonna experience as a push, but like you were pushed to here. You know what I mean? But like really, space was this big, and then like now you're there. But like actually, space is like not that big. But then and so you get thrust, but it's not thrust. See, that's the caveat. It's the Albuquerque without like the smacking as it, like, I have to massively expand, and then, if I didn't cinch it off, I get sucked back towards where I was, which is a spring at that point, which is like, Albuquerque, what the fuck? Who gives a shit about this? Why is this a good thing? It's a Limke drive, for one thing. Like, I don't know why anybody thought that was going to be useful, because if you shake any weight on a spring, it comes back. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Space is still not anything other than a compressed or expanded space. You need to, like, cinch it off, otherwise all you've done is made sure you're going to die. So, like, don't do that. Because, like, compression still occurs, and, like, momentum is still conserved, and, space, even if it's a quantum vacuum pressure, still gets compressed, and so you get black hole, and it's like, the hell did you do this for? Who designed that? You're dumb. But, like, I don't know what that is. I don't get that one personally. That's the problem I have with him. It's like, he's smart? Why is he smart? What? What did he do? He did the same thing I just did with a concept, but it never would have worked. Mine at least works, So that's what that is, which is the problem I have with him. Anyways, point is, it's really easy to push it, and so, like, as a result, it goes faster than the speed of light. And the faster it goes, the more push, and so you see the correlatory effect, which means you get faster and faster, and then you get exponentially greater increases, and then, you get the picture. Same thing with the quasi-particle fusion reactor, but it's like, that's for, like, small space crews, hyper efficiency, 10, 12, 20 people max. So that's a thing. I don't really understand why people really need more than that, except for, like, hey, space travel is, like, millions of people, so, like, you probably do want that. Anyways, but the quasi-particle fusion reactor is just meant to shove. That's the whole reason why I designed it. It's like, oh, that's hydrogen for the big machine. It's just a bunch of hydrogen. Go over there, hydrogen. Go, go, go. Feed the beast. Which, that's all it's meant to do. And so, like, but, like, when it's just the fusion reactor, it's like, it's kind of important, you don't, like, but see, it doesn't really ever fail. Like, it takes a really long time, because we're talking about an internal style of wormhole warping sort of things, negative energy stuff, and then an external. And so, like, you get that way, like, you don't have neutron degradation, which is a really big issue, you know what I mean? So it removes that. Not to mention, like, for my initial design, it was like, hey, yeah, no, I still have neutron deflectors. There's no reason that can't be used, like, to increase pressure in given volumes of space. But it's like, you don't necessarily need that. But then, like, the moment that wormhole fucking shit dies, like, you're dead. It go big boom. Big boom. Huge boomity. Big boom. So the pressure release, boom. So it's like, I use neutron deflecting materials and light grid arrays to basically mimic a light pressure situation. And then, like, a gravity is really just inertial, relativistic speeds. So, like, I don't really need gravity. I don't really need light. I don't really need, like, everybody's like, I no star, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I mimicked it. I don't need that. Get out of here. You're not mimicking it. I'm like, To me, it's boring. I always find them boring. I'm like, how come you didn't think about it like this? E equals mc squared was from the guy that said, like, relativistically, if you're accelerating at 1g, then you get 1g, meaning you feel like you're on Earth. And I'm like, how come you didn't think of that for this? What is that? You're smart. That's what you say. That's what the fucking certification paper says. Which, that's all I view diplomas and, like, other shit. It's a certification. It's like, hey, I spent this amount of money and I'm like these other people. And I tested this that says I passed test and these projects. which said I'm smart like them. And I've spent a lot, so it's important. Because money is valuable. It's tied intrinsically to real value. And it's certainly not a bunch of people all agreeing that something, which is a false belief system, by the way, like God is real, or God is not real, other shit like that. Any of it. It's like, you don't have proof either way right now. But it's like, I have proof that this is important. And I'm like, yeah, because a lot of people say it is. But that doesn't make it important. That's kind of my problem with that. So, like, it's like, whoop-de-doo. But I want to go to school because it's like I need to learn things. But then they're like, we're not going to give you a project. We're not going to set it up so that way you're able to do it, as equally as us. Like you have ADHD and all these other issues, and you need to, like, fucking concentrate on something in a different way, and you need certain importances to your brain to be, like, able to hyperfixate on it. And if you don't, then you don't do it. And you get told you're lazy and unintelligent and stuff like that, and then it's like, but I'm not. What are you fucking? You're an idiot. You're a fucking stupid retard bitch that says that you're teaching well, but you're not teaching well. You don't. You don't, and you don't also, you also don't do it with corporations either. Like, I can clearly, be able to work certain jobs, but I can't do that job, and that doesn't work for me. And you don't tell someone to go work a job they can't do and then be like, you're lazy and incompetent and all this. And I'm like, that's setting someone up for failure, and then they failed, and then you blame them for failing. What the fuck are you doing? Which I don't understand, truthfully. That's a whole problem. But then it's like, that's the exclusionary matrixy of the, the logic gate system that is our organism, the human condition. The entire society, how I produce these amounts of waste products, goods, and services, and then I send them over to there, willing to, accept it and eat it, and then, run the whole, like, organism that is the entirety of humankind. All connected, man. Meanwhile, it's like, you're eating my shit and I don't even want it. Here's some, like, monies for attached to that. Oh, thank you. I'll just shit some more over there, and doesn't matter. But that's all it is. It's like and or if and blah blah blah. And I'm like, God, do they not understand how fucking stupid they are? Do they not? Do they get it? Do they get the fact that they're shooting themselves in their own feet all the time? They can do this, they can do that, they can make this work together like the puzzle pieces they are. Why don't they get it? Why don't they see the engine that they are, the organism that happens to work this way, that needs this stuff to work that way, and so on and so forth, because those are personalities, belief systems, zeitgeists, bubbles, and states, then countries, and so on. It just annoys me. So that's a thing, I don't know. I feel like an alien all the time. Because it's like, you don't see that? You don't see that? How come you don't see that? What's wrong with this? Why don't you see this? How come you don't see... What's wrong with this? What, how did you not see it? It's pretty simple. It's not autistic to see it. It's in your face all the time. Like, every day, it's always there. Like, how do you not see it? And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, well, but see, that's the thing. Like, people just don't have time to think. And they're always bringing up, grow. It's like, you're not a child anymore. Do this. What fucking shit is that? What? You didn't teach me anything useful, and you expected me to be able to know everything. What the fuck? And it's like, do it! And it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't even know who I am or what I like anymore. Money, need it. And I'm like, that's exactly what you do every day, and you never learn anything. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta learn, and like, these are intrinsic truths about our reality, our society, about lots of things, and so you gotta think about it, because nobody tells you, nobody tells us, nobody tells anyone anything. They're all shitty people too that say they know everything. You know, lies, either intentional or not. You know, they learn enough to be able to fool someone else into doing something for them. And, like, that's manipulative. And they do pretty well for themselves. Like, look at Trump. Look at, like, most CEOs. Look at, like, most politicians. They'll get you to be afraid, or, you know, oh, we're hopeful. It's a wonderful drug. Be hopeful. Change. And it's like, what about any of this stuff? And what about them that don't want that? And what about any of this other stuff about how to, like, make it happen to interact in between each other? You know, what are you doing? I might change. You vote me. And I'm like, no, you're not, though. It's the same. It's still for the rich. It's still for, like, the same scapegoaty fucking people. Pedophiles, rapists, murderers. I'm like, who makes desperations? Who's making you fucking hate and discriminate against someone that's literally, like, just born a certain way? Who fucking acknowledged that being, like, the right thing? Like, all of you? Yeah? Why? You're weird as fuck, man. How is it that you made it like that hatred is okay? What the fuck is you at this point? A hating person that incentivizes themselves for a bunch of, like, petty, passive-aggressive behavior? To hate on people? What are you doing? That you are clearly toxic even to yourself. The moment you might fit into one of those categories. Come on, think about it. Now you hate yourself. And, like, you totally deny any of that. And the next thing you know, you're in the bad, I hide, but I'm like, you. You know, fear for the echo chamber not validating you anymore. It's weird. It's like, what the fuck is this? Who made fear the only thing that you're willing to be? You need to fucking think for yourself for a while, man. Like, what's going on here? What happened? And it's like, that's what that is. You have to do that. You have to. Like, I mean that, though. Like, you actually have to do that. If you want to learn. Which is a problem. You know, because people don't want to do that. People don't think like me. People don't like that. Like, most people won't. It's a problem. I'm like, how am I supposed to help someone see anything? Like, I'm just me. I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm not trying to be anything. But it's like I've learned very often through being homeless in mental health hospitals, where I'm talking to the behavioral health techs, and they're coming to me for advice on what to do. Which is like, I'm the patient here. I'm a patient here. I'm a here because of a psychotic episode? Why am I the one teaching you something? You know, why am I that? Why am I homeless and teaching you something? And it gets depressing. It's really, really depressing. Like, I mean that. Like, it's very, very depressing. And there's nothing I can really do about it. Which is a problem. You know, I got in a psychotic state or something, and I left journals out and about. Someone stole one of my flash drives when I locked myself out of a car, and they helped, you know, get me back in while I wasn't there and around. And then another dude, or another person, I just left it out in like a park and on my Twitter saying like if somebody finds it they can kiss me or be in a relationship with me. It's like what the fuck? And it's like then another time I was like, oh yeah, no, I had someone steal my fucking laptop and he went over to New York and got that. Some heroin junkie seller by the name Eric. Total sleazewad. I was back in Massachusetts. I was homeless there. That was my first time. So that's a whole thing, you know. But like every single time, I'm like, I hope they all died. I hope no one and they just deleted the fucking files. I mean that. I really did, and I really do. Because it's like, fuck you. No, that's a terrible way to fucking start anything. They're shitty people, and I hope that it was successful, whatever murder or to self-defense or suicide attempt it was that got them to that point. I mean that. That's it. It's the truth. But like, you know, you're not supposed to say something like that. Like this guy stole my fucking goddamn, you know, laptop. He stole my fucking, like, they stole my flash drive, and like I left one out while you know it's in a fucking park while I was homeless that they kicked me out of. Not they, they're it was homeowners that I wasn't on their property, but saying I was on their property in multi-million-dollar homes. As I'm homeless and there isn't a place for me to really actually stay. Fuck you, ass fuck. The hell? I hope you died. I hope everyone in those fucking. I hope everyone that showed up there, and those that fucked with my tent too, as I was trying to find a new place to stay, died. I hope they fucking died. But like, you know, see, this is the problem I have. You know, it's like people don't really understand like how they're not understanding things, and they get wrapped up in certain idea systems which are not true. Like, this is just straight up not true. Like, their Christianity, just not true. Atheism, whatever, I can make an argument for being real, and it'll come out back on March 23rd and the 31st, or 24th and the 31st, respectively, for the argument of why God is real. 23rd. Like, it has to be. And I am. Ooh, suck it. Ah, yeah, that must anger you a lot, huh, atheists? I'm in psychosis. Must anger you a lot, Christians. Hey, you Muslims. Hey, multi-theology. You know what I mean? I'm like, angered. Don't give a fuck. It's just funny to me. It's genuinely funny. Because it's like, look, it's coming out. If anybody ever happens to watch it, sure, you know. But otherwise, they're just idiotic every time. Like, and I'm not really sure what the hell to do about that. So, you know, for me, that's all that is. Because it's like, what am I supposed to do with them? You know, like they're entitled to their belief system, but like, you know, anger yourselves out. Like, I'm really nice about angering people because it's like you're the one that's gonna get angered by it, not me. I'm not gonna get angered by that. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I don't care what your beliefs are, and if you're that fucking like the moment someone comes around and says something, it's really really easy to fuck with you. You know what I mean? So, and like it's stupendously simple too to do so. So. You know, but whatever, right? It's not my big deal, and like my designs are what they are, brilliant and simplistic, and they make total sense all the time. And I spent a lot of time on them before I ever talked about them, even on camera or even in my journals. And someone that doesn't say that says that they aren't, usually isn't someone smart or intelligent enough to know. And those that seem like they might be don't account for other things that are the reason why they aren't actually right about it being a bad design. I spent a lot of time on that because I have, shitty family members that doubt me all the time and say it's not smart. And if you were so good that you would do this, and so on and so forth. Which, I've had to deal with a lot of idiots that act the same in everyday life. All the time. They're really stupid, about that. And it's like, well, there's nothing you can really do. They were raised that way because they're, unfortunately enough, raised by parents that are that way. And I've unlearned, in fact, never really was like that with my family, and I never agreed with them on that. And when you're the smart guy that's confident and was willing to even say to your mother, "Why won't you just listen to me? I'm right about this." And just and then passive aggressive bullshit for "Oh, well, what do you know about this?" And then decided to proceed. Well, this is what it is, and this is, and I'm I don't know anything about it. I'm a fucking 7-year-old, and you're doing that to me? What the fuck are you doing? You're my mom. And even if I was an adult, I wouldn't be okay. What the fuck are you doing? But that's the ego, the narcissistic problem that they have. It's an ego problem. It's a jealousy ego problem. So, that's what that is. There's Social Security number, I got it. And I'm oh, great. You have my Social Security number? SSN, whole thing. Where did that come from? It's a whole thing with something else. But it's nice. So you put yourself into complete total scumbag nature? And should die person kind of thing? That's what you are at that point. You know what I mean? If you're taking someone's Social Security, we're talking scammers or anything else. We're talking you should definitely kill yourself. You are utter shitty garbage. Please die. There's no redemption for you. You definitely should die. That kind of thing. Because that's fucked up, man. You're willing to steal them that hard? That someone's identity? Yeah, which is not easy to fix, bro. That's decades of work. All because you wanted $100 or something like that. I hope every one of them that stole my money from my bank account when I was in a mental health hospital died. I hope everyone... I'm talking every one of them died. That was recent. That was back in 2019 or 2020. Something like that. I got out. Yeah. And people just took money. They're we sold you, Norton or something. And there's no key, there's no nothing. I never did any of that. I'm in a mental health hospital. I have no access to computers or my phone. I suddenly open up my fucking email and it's what? I open up my checking account and it's I have no money. I have no money at all. I really hope they fucking just died. In every way, I hope they killed themselves. And they got shot, and they got ran over, and they got murdered. I hope that happened. And I mean that. But that's what that is, Utter garbage. Waste of life in every way. Complete, why breathe my same air? You're garbage. Dude, just stop trying to fucking defend yourself. You know what you are. If you do that, you know what you are. You should die. There's nothing good about you. You should die. There's nothing good. You're not doing anything good to anyone. You're ruining someone's life. For nothing. You're garbage. You should die. Die, please. But that's what that is. I did say please. It's commanded. I command you to die. I wave my magic fingers and you have heart attack right now and aneurysm. You know what I mean? That kind of thing, right? But now, wouldn't it be awesome if that's exactly what happened? You know, I finally got my way on something, and just keep it going. You know, fucking great. It's like, boom, God smites your ass. Just completely kill you. Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. Life is just not that precious, truthfully. You have 8 billion of you. 8+ billion of you. Should you realize, finally, that you're not special? Like, you should die. You know what I mean? Like, unlike me, who is intelligent, charismatic, sees many things. Well, I do have faults. I'm not doing anything to anyone that's bad. I'm arguing for inclusive, cooperative, compassion, understanding. Except for you fucks, which you're shitty, terrible people, and you should die. So, it's like, look. Put it in a real nice perspective for you idiots that don't seem to understand it. I'm arguing for non-discriminatory good things. And if you can ultimately happen to understand why you're racist, homophobic, thieving, whatever the fuck it is doing that is wrong. Clearly you're wrong. You should die. You should obviously be dead. There's nothing good about you. Which is an authoritarian regime, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? That's a fascist viewpoint, and I'm a slight bit of a fascist. You know? It's like, look, I'm not willing to let you actually continue being garbage. And, like, I'm gonna have you argue for that and, like, try and, like, actually make some sort of sense. You know what I mean? Like let's break you down. Let's give you some therapy. Let's figure this out so that way psychologically you understand your idiocracies. And idiosyncrasies too, yeah. The little guy is back. Like, you're not right. Suck it. You know, it's a whole thing. But it's like, you are an utter garbage person. There's nothing good about you. Until you make yourself decent, there's nothing ever going to be good about you. Which you can do that. You can change in every way. Advocate for that. Like, you can absolutely make headway in changing your ideas and understanding and having compassion and empathy for those around you. But if you can't, you're kind of a person that needs to be separated from people that aren't like yourself. It's like the argument of hackers and cheaters, you know, for video games, running in lobbies that have only hackers and cheaters. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. Because it's like, they're never going to not do that. So, and their only advantage is doing it to people that aren't. So having made sure that they're only around those that are like that, or just getting rid of it, is their only real saving grace. But they'll argue the same thing for something like pedophilia. And I'm like, but they're fucking, like, literally born that way. I don't care what their argument is for, like, that not being okay. It's okay to be born that way. You're arguing for anyone that is born to not be. You're learned discrimination. You're taught. You know, you learn that. They aren't learning. That's what they are. And it's like, well, they need help. You know, help is talking to other similar like-minded people and having outlets for their urges, which are natural. What the fuck are they on about? I don't understand that one, truthfully. I don't. Like, it's like, what the fuck are they saying that we need to discriminate against this? How, like, oh, that's right. They were taught for a while that was okay, and there's certain exceptions and that's the right thing. And it's like, yeah, you said the thing back in the day for the 2000s about gay people, and it was transsexuals for a while, and then you started accepting them. It's like, and then the argument is, well, they're not and a gender is only the thing you're saying, and I'm like, you're actually far more attracted than just gender, idiot. There's looks, there's finances, there's status, there's sexual different sexual positions, different sexual plays. There's heights, there's weights, there's a whole bunch here, which is not attractiveness. If you don't know, that's not attractiveness. And that's why I'm like, you're an idiot who thinks like that. You're being obviously obtuse if you think any kind of like, oh, it's only because like gender. And I'm like, the obtuse one's back. You know what I mean? Like the obtuse one's back. You're the obtuse one here. Like that's what you are. Like what the fuck is that? Do you understand how idiotic you are? You're saying, oh well, because their skin's this much. Oh, because they're this tall. Oh, because they're this small. Oh, because they're blah 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 blah. That's all you're doing. That's literally what that is. If you don't understand why, I'll explain it in pretty simple terms. Similarities are abound. And it's not the same. And it's like, I didn't even say that, but the fact that you're defending it like that should tell you a lot. Not to mention, it's like, let's put it this way. We chemically castrate them, make it illegal, and everybody's against them currently. That's basically gay. Or transsexuals. Not even that long ago. Yeah, Alan Turing was fucking chemically castrated, and then he was not killed with a normal natural cause heart attack. You know what I mean? Sure, yeah, no. The guy who created the Enigma machine cracked all these codes for the military in World War II. Oh, yeah, you're no longer useful, and everybody really doesn't like gay people. Die. That was the 1940s or some shit, man. That's insane, right? He's the one that created the whole idea of like, hey, these are the questions for the Turing, to know if it's really like an actual AI, just do that. Like, it's a real intelligent thing now. And I'm like, this guy? We killed this guy? We killed this guy? Why did we kill this guy? But it's like, well, we know why, because he was gay. And it's like, up until about the 70s, we used to chemically castrate gay people. You only need to go to certain places in this country to do that. Back then, we did, yeah. Like, think about that. We're in 2022 now, about to be 2023. Very soon for me. It's technically 2023 for other people. But that's all that is. It's like, and that's just one example. It's so insane. It's like, wait a second, why are they... And it's like, because they need a scapegoat that isn't the real problem, which is themselves being discriminatory, themselves being toxic, themselves being, paramoralizing. Like, you're a rapist! Like this one fucking called Rounder on Reddit. You're a rapist! Because you're a part of this Reddit sub-community! And I was like, I was briefly, so you showed off you're a creepazoid by going through my comment section. The moment you didn't like something. And, ultimately I was defending myself. And then you're a paramoralizing justification or, bully at that point. That needs a bunch of people to be on your side based upon this, you're now this, which is like, it's a community of people that are consenting to having sex in a given play style. What? What? What the fuck? And it's like, you think that's the only time that happens? Think about that with the same thing with pedophiles. Think about I saw this one, this guy got out, he was a pedophile, he raped and killed someone, and this other guy, it's like a pound of weed, 34 years, but he got out in 9 years, and I'm like, or 2 years or some weeks, right, on Reddit, and I go, well, obviously, the words are not going to be good. All right, hold your horses. Oh my god! You know what I mean? Like, hold your horses. Hold your horses. I'll let you know my thoughts before. And I didn't do much checking, so you're gonna have to forgive me. But immediately I'm like, well, it's rape because immediately statutory, and we never allow kids to consent because they can't possibly. And I'm like, okay, not for nothing, but like many people have stated that they would have had sex with an adult when they were too young to do so. You know, that kind of thing. Which is not true. If they can consent, then like that's a thing. But it's like, you're arguing for consent here. And I was like, they know what sex is, dumbass. That's what that is. It's a thing. And does that mean that that's what happened? No, I'm not going to say that is. I'm not arguing for that. But no matter what, that's what the law says. And I go, right, well, obviously the guy shouldn't have been, and he's black, so immediately optics, oh my god, a poor black person, and they got way obviously scapegoated because of their race. And it's like, absolutely, they did. I'm not saying they didn't. But the point is a comparison scapegoaty thing. And it's like, the law isn't going to change their stance. They were raped. It doesn't matter. There's no such thing as consent. They never consent. So, like, you can't go off of that. You'd have to ask them the time before the ultimate law and judgment was passed. Before that, they were told constantly over and over and over that they were raped. And what their real, like, ultimate, what they were doing was. Or wasn't. Now, did they get snatched and raped? That might be the exact fucking thing that happened. I don't know. I didn't look into it. But the point is that they're a scapegoat right now, and the optics obviously are going to help make this poor gentleman who did get scapegoat. Like, that's clearly not right. Like, a fucking little bit of weed and he got 34 years. That's fuck you. You know what I mean? That's fuck you. That's a fuck off. No. But, like, why not go with, like, corporations have taken trillions of dollars over the course of the pandemic from you, and they say they can't afford free healthcare. They can, obviously. And if you like, they can't, I'm like, they don't pay taxes. Most of their money goes to wealthy who do almost fuck all and spent the vast majority of time just making other people do their work. At that point, I could write AIs that do that and run a business. And I say that I do like a lot of work. And it's like, I don't. But like, see, that's the problem. They're like, he's an anarchist too. I'm like, well, no, I'm a socialist anarchist, totalitarian, benevolent style dictator kind of lover. Because it's like, you should not be hating on these people. I am going to oppress you from the ability to hate on these motherfuckers. You're going to speak well of yourself, young man, woman, whatever. You're going to do that. Which is a fascist. It's a fascist statement to make, but it's also what the hell your fucking therapist tells you. It's like, hey, yo, ass fuck, I'm oppressing your ability to be mean to yourself, fuckface. Fuck you. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to care about that. But see, that's my problem. It's like, they don't pay taxes. They don't. They have loopholes and all this other stuff. And it's like, it's free! Well, why aren't you spending money to get loopholes closed? Is there any particular reason? No. Really? No. Seriously? Are you sure about that? Nah. Like, why? No. And that's the reason why I love that. Because I'm like, you clearly know. Like, there's no way that people don't understand that. But they're like, I'll eventually be rich and be able to exploit this. No, you won't. But, that's a whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, but like that's a whole thing for me. Like I mean that is legitimately a whole thing. So it's like, but it's like, see, my main issue is that like there's nothing wrong with like the fact that like a pedophile had sex with a child or a minor. You know, it's really about how much they know. It's really about like, did they use certain manipulative words? Did they just grab them and go for it, which is just straight rape? You know, like that's what that is to me. Like you have to remember, it's like, look, that's rape. And manipulating someone, which do you call a playboy who just said the right words to get someone hot and bothered for them, or a playgirl? Is that like rape? And it's like no. But what if they were naive enough as an adult to not know? Well, they learned a lesson, but not as a child. Um, well, no, because why? And see the anger suddenly coming out. You know what I mean? It's like they're very, very angry about that. But like, if that's their justification, then it should work with adults too. But the child is more naive, and I'm like, you really don't know that. And I'm like, this is one of the problems I have because it's like instead of age of consent, we should be doing tests and obvious displays that they understand something or do not understand something, and teaching to consent, as in like I do not want that, and this is a hard boundary, and I do not want to do that, and then following through. I mean, that's being respectful of that, and they don't. You know what I mean? And then that's now a hard boundary crossed, and that's not okay. And then now you can take that to authority. Like a test is a test. You can test people for knowledge. We do it obviously every fucking day at schools all the time. Hey, what? Why aren't we doing this? Because 18. 18, I know many 18-year-olds that are so naive that they shouldn't fucking have sex. And are easily able to be influenced and then manipulated into having sex too soon. I should say no. I know there are many. I have seen many myself over time. But I don't know them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. And so it's like, what are you fucking doing as a person at this point other than totally not acknowledging straight up fact? Like if we're able to test a child whether or not they can fucking flush a toilet, we know that they can understand enough to be like, I want my penis yanked or I want my vagina rubbed. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like it's not the same. There's emotional things, and I'm like, pleasure's pleasure, and sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. You know, that's kind of my problem with that. It's like sometimes yes, but other times no, and that's a social stigma. Like there's these emotional things, or other people that think like so, and then like having them understand it's like there's no love here. It's just a fun time. And you can let them know. And it's like, I want my fun time, and I want to do this, and it's like, hey, understanding that they're not going to do this during these times, and, I don't want to, and I'm just not into that right now, and them not going, yeah, I know you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. And so understanding their emotions and coping through emotions and not feeling hurt as a result of something occurring that they didn't get, which I think is a big one that we need to teach children just in general, like, and adults too, because you have no idea how many men and women get upset when they're like, oh my god, I can't believe my husband or wife didn't fuck me, and I'm like, what? But there's obvious a power dynamic, and I'm like, and you're obviously aware that you also definitely decide to be raked over the coals for some small amount of change given to you every hour when you have no real power to stop that, even though you could vote that differently. And it's like, and then you try to, and then of course what happens? And so like that's abuse of power. You understand what abuse of power is then. That's rape. Now children will understand rape. Do you get it now? It's like children can understand rape when they're being raped. Like, not, oh, I consented and I didn't want you to do that. And it's like, bingo, rape. The power dynamic. Oh, they respect it. You didn't respect that. And you did this thing I didn't want you to do. That's raping. Immediately, authority figures. See the incredulous look that they finally kind of realize, like, you can clearly understand enough to know. You know? You can't. I, as an adult, say in no way is it even possible for them to understand any of this. Meanwhile, them, when they were a child, a teen, talking to their friends, and they decided to get hurt, and by hurt I mean they felt hurt, and they tried to enforce a boundary, and then eventually something happened with their other friends, or an adult as well, but it wasn't about sex. And they couldn't possibly understand the same thing about sex. What? So, what are you saying at that point? You know, like, what are you really saying? That you didn't have those feelings to yourself? That's what you're gaslighting right now. You're gaslighting yourself. That you didn't have those feelings. That you weren't hurt when they did that to you. That's what you're saying. My whole thing is saying, oh, they didn't feel as though they were hurt and they understood things, and then people decided to say that they were lying or they didn't know something, and as a result they're being gaslit to believe that they were hurt, and then eventually they'll just go along with it because there's nothing they can do anyways, and they're helpless. Which does happen. I mean, all of it is always rape, always bad, always this. That doesn't work. There's no way that works. It's statistically impossible. There's no way statistically it's every time. Otherwise we'd have the first 100% complete non-disordered, non-chaotic system ever. And it's running perfectly for all the history and all the evidence that says that's not the case. That's the truth, though. You know what I mean? So, and they don't, by they, I mean like the general public, general attitude, the zeitgeist kind of culture, war, bubble, echo chamber stuff online, and in everyday life, they decide to say this stuff and believe it. And I'm like, how the fuck do you believe your own garbage that you're saying? And it's like, yeah, what the fuck? How are you believing that? Like, first off, let's just look at your evidence of like, oh, it's always worse. No, abusive sex is always worse. Where a rape does occur and they feel as though that's what happened. We don't see the same thing for something else. Where's that fucking metric of data? Which I've seen some data for that. But it's like, I'm not going to present that because you need to do that work. I'm not going to influence you. Sorry, you have Google too, and then you'll understand how much Google fucking censors the shit out of that. And it's like, where's the argument on the other side? It should be there. It should be there. Also, same thing with like, this is a left field to you, but to me it's very similar. Where's the argument for the non-responders and medications? Like, we see a hyper-specified bell curve of people that happen to like respond positively to medication, but we don't really see the other side of that. And so then certain ideas and theories get presented, like serotonin deficits and dopamine deficits, even though like it's not actually acknowledging some of the other issues that are there in those given studies that don't present non-responders or low responders with high side effects. And they're not specified. And they don't need to. And in fact, that doesn't really give them the evidence to sell a new medication. It's not there. It's really honestly not. And so a lot of ideas are brought up about studies that actually don't have the other argument side. They are presented. And those that say it does, and it is, and I've never looked, but it is. I'm like, okay, flip your table over there, don't do it here. Go over there, flip your table, don't do it around here. Can you leave? You know what I mean? But, you know, you'd be surprised how many scientists know about that. Like, legitimately. And they're genuinely afraid about the fact that, like, a lot of this has issues with how it is we present this to ourselves and others. There's a lot of bad evidence that is being used to support something that isn't actually true. Like, I love Adam Conover's, like, Adam Ruins Everything. You want to know why? Because the motherfucker is like, hey, basically most of the history you were taught, like, straight up in America is just wrong. Like, it's not very good history. In fact, most of it's just straight up propaganda. And it's like, studies are not absolved of that. They're also a part of that. Now, granted, some of them are better, but or at least they indicate some correlative evidence to say that this seems to be a thing. But correlative is not causative, and in fact, if you base your life off of correlative, you'd almost never get anything done. Like, I correlated that this stick next to this gear does something. That's meaningless. Could you give me something with what the stick is doing? Can you tell me if it's attached to it, the gear, somehow? Or is it being hit? What's going on here? Is something going on with this gear? I need to know what's happening with this gear. My new correlative evidence says the gear is being moved by the stick after the gear moves over the stick. I need to go punch something. You see me off screen. To a pillow. Just come back here. Okay, we got the gears being affected by the stick, but it seems more like the stick is being affected by the gear. Which is happening? What's the timeline of events here? I'm not quite certain what you're trying to drive at. This new correlative evidence says that gears are all bad. Throw that fucking evidence out of here. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is this? I don't give a shit about what the hell you just said. The fuck out of my face. The fuck out of here. The fuck is this? This is garbage. The fuck? I don't care about that. Who gives a shit? But like, you know, they do things, and I'm like, yeah, no, but see, this is the problem that I have. This is the problem I have with medicines. I'm talking about medicines now. It's like, you're in a authoritative area. I mean, you set yourself up to think that there's success. That's going to happen. Like, medicines work. And then you're going to a presence that has a whole bunch of, you know, priming for your brain to believe it's going to work. You know, the office and everything. Then you go see the person prescribing it, and they have like the certificate and everything else, and so then you're more primed and ready to believe it's going to work. And then side effects, which happen to further increase the thought process, it must be doing something. And then you'll more likely, because it's doing something, I'm going to believe that I can go do this thing I was holding off on doing because, like, I have my medication, and so therefore I can do it. You know, that kind of thing. It's 5 things to increase your placebo effect. 5! Did you quantify how much of an effect each one of those things happens to produce in terms of the increase of placebo? And the entourage effect of all of them and how much that seems to affect? Or are you just placebo? Because it's like, oh, I give you placebo and it seems to work this amount. It is 34%. And it's like, no, you didn't. You didn't give him a side effect. You didn't give him this, you didn't give him that, you didn't. And then, like, on top of that, while there is a difference to the brain, what if I made that difference occur with something similar? Instead of serotonin, what if I gave him a glutamatergic intake, activation? What if I gave him a different version of a release for something else that happens to cascade due to that area now being cascaded into and allowed to happen? What occurs? What if it's a sodium-calcium change that happens to excitively activate certain neurons? You didn't account for that. That's effectively a placebo based upon your medication. It's still doing something, it's just doing it differently. What if I decided to knowingly give a pill that excites their adrenals, let's say, with sugar, but they're diabetic? Because it's going to excite their adrenals. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because, I have too much sugar now. I have to take my insulin. Now, what's the effect mentally? It's still placebo. What if I excited something else because the patient happens to have with their sugar something else going on? Not just diabetic. Where they have an allergic reaction to just that specific type of sugar. Which is a thing, actually, yeah. Do you know what happens? No, you don't test for that. You don't do it at all. It's still placebo. Just because you go to a doctor and you take a placebo pill, that doesn't mean that it's not doing something. You didn't test for anything. You didn't test for a placebo at all. Not even hypnotism is placebo. You made someone or helped someone to fully entrench a delusional or disassociative level of belief about something being real. Which at that point is almost a hallucinatory effect. Which we see people being given pills and create a hallucinatory effect that's quite similar, if not the same, as hallucination. And it's like, exactly. You didn't do anything for that placebo level. You didn't. They didn't get the proper side effects. They need side effects. They need individual, the whole treatment thing, That test is irrelevant to me. Like I went to this place where I was at the place for this, and so obviously some of us are going to get these side effects or this stuff, and that place, they know that we even know that they're getting the side effects. So they're obviously on the thing, and I'm not, so. It's not a blind study at all. They see what the hell they're on. They see that they're getting side effects. They're like, who gives a shit? And those that you actually see that get the side effects, do you see the potentiation? It's usually in the 20 to 30% greater potentiation in placebo effects, especially when they're similar. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing other than selling me crap garbage? Garbage. It's garbage. Fuck off. I don't give a fuck. And it's a massive amount of money that you make off of that. For the millionaires and billionaires that happen to make money, they're incentivized massively to sell it to anything that seems to be affected by it a little bit. Like, oh, we're giving you this pill that seems to be affecting your OCD, and you're going up against something else, double blind, whatever, right? But they don't tell them that, right? So, what do you get as a result? Like, I'm getting these side effects, I'm getting these side effects. Those that think it'll help with their OCD, and those that don't, which is a psychological effect, not just a placebo. There's a psychological. I think it will, I will not. Do you believe this medication will help you? Do you not believe? Are you hopeful or are you not? Is it taken into account? No! It's never taken into account for these studies. I'm like, exactly, it's not. I'm like, how the fuck do we? Oh, they make a lot of money off of that, and they pay them to review the studies. They do. They pay them to review our studies at the FDA. That's what they do. The pharmaceutical companies, yeah. That's a thing, man. That's what they do. That's a real fucking thing, man. It's a real fucking thing. You need to fucking know about that. That, granted, if they help you, you should still take your medicine. I'm not saying don't take your medicine. If they help, take your medicine. If you found relief with symptoms, take your medicine. Right? Furby says, take your medicine. Take it. Take your medicine. You take your medicine. Take your medicine. Your mental health issues are real, okay? Just so you know, they are. They are real. Fuck off if someone says they're not. They are real. You need to fucking do that. But, that being said, you have to understand that, like, I have doubts about medication, especially as a person that's a low non-responder, low to non-responsive to, like, almost every medication I've ever taken. So, like, that's a problem I end up having. And we're not accounted for most things. Like, a lot of people don't understand this, but, like, if I take a medication, what they won't tell you is, like, you're like 90% after like only 2 switches. Meaning you take it first, switch to another, and switch to another. You're like 91% roughly to not respond to other medications at that point. In the same category. And then it's like we switch to another category, and then if you another 2 switches onto the first one and then the second one, and then at that point you're in the 80% range for not responding anymore. Like, legitimately, it's in the 80s. And then the third one, at that point you're like basically chasing what is effectively a Russian roulette 00. Green 00. Like, you really are. Like, at that level of percentage of drop of actual, like, you might actually be affected by medication positively or at all, you get massively reduced. So it's a real big issue. And you also have to take into account every new medication change that works off of something that it was already being worked off of. Like, let's say serotonin. Serotonin interacts with norepinephrine. Okay, like it works also with their dopamine. Okay, so dopamine will eventually turn into norepinephrine, but like norepinephrine interacts with serotonin by driving it down. Like, if you didn't know that, that's a thing. And so, if you don't do it the right way, like, it actually causes problems. And certain things actually affect serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine together. Talk about an excitatory effect. Right? And then some people might go from like, oh, I happen to have basically no serotonin is what they think. They take a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, regular amounts of serotonin, like an SSRI. Like, this is what they're prescribed. They didn't take too many. They didn't take more than they should. Serotonin syndrome. too much serotonin is now there. And like, that's the biggest issue, because it's like you need to actually stop the serotonin because it's driving down norepinephrine and it's driving down dopamine. Because it's overexciting certain neuronal areas in your brain that are serotonin driven. So you have to understand why I'm like, this is a complex thing. This idea of sexuality is far more complex, more nuanced than like what you're making out to be, which is sex equal good, but only once this. It's not. Like, sex is kind of boring for most people unless it's done correctly or with the right person or both. And you need to be able to understand that, like, sex is not always bad and not always good. Sex is really just whatever it is. It's sex. And it's not always gendered. It's not for some other pansexuals. Like, it's literally like gender, and like for me, it's not. I don't have a gender basis for my sexuality. I do have a vagina basis. Like, that's a thing I have. Like, I like vagina. I don't like very much care about like your sexual identity. It could be male, it could be female, it could be none, it could be fluid, it could be both at the same time. I don't mind. I don't care. I like the vagina, and I like your overall look, attitude, personality, sexual compatibility, what we want in love, in life, and so on and so forth. That's why I'm pansexual. And I'm also polyamorous, where I'm like, I will still love you, but it will change, and then I'll go back, and it'll change. Like in terms of, especially it works with my ADHD quite well, because it's like, oh yeah, no, I'll love that, and I'll fixate a little bit, but then I'll go back and I'll love them, and like when I have like a certain size, it's like, oh yeah, no, I'm always like having a good time, and I'm always loving, and I'm always caring, and I'm always kind, all that stuff, right? Which is what you're looking for in a relationship, but. Others aren't. They just want, and that's what they're looking for. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And so, I don't know what to tell you, because it's like, that's not what I am. That's not who I am. But like, others are fine with that. And when you're young, you're more likely to be fine with that. If you don't know, if you never remembered from when you were a teenager, you were like, I just want to fuck. I just want to fuck. I want to fuck him. I want to fuck her. I want to fuck this, And so you weren't really looking for a relationship, but like that was the pretense to getting sex. That's what that was. I'm laughing because it's true. I remember doing that as my own teenage self. I was like, yeah, no, I'm just looking to fuck. I'm just looking to fuck this person. I kind of want to get but I don't really want to do it. You know what I mean? I don't really want to like talk to them. I don't really want to, you know what I mean? But I went through a period like that where it's like I just want to fuck. But like I'm gonna fucking like do the whole relationship thing or whatever. And I'm like, it's so stupid. But like, it's not, because like that's the only way it's okay. And I'm like, society says that? No, that's not how that works. And, like, not to mention, you needn't get taught how to handle emotions. You didn't. You need to learn how to handle these things inside of your brain and body, the emotions. You don't know how to do that. You didn't get taught at an early enough age. In fact, I know many adults, I've seen them many times, let me tell you, over the entirety of my life, that don't know how to handle their emotions, or don't know how to cope, don't know how to maintain themselves, don't even know how to even understand what they are. And like, well, when you're younger, it's a thing that you have to be taught. It doesn't just suddenly come in because you're an adult. Hey, I'm now 30 years old. I know how all my emotions are, and I know everything about them, and I've never needed any fucking help. God damn, can you teach me that? Like, could you teach, like, is that a thing? Is that, like, how did that happen? Because I didn't. It fucking lied. You know what I mean? Like, I lied my ass off. There's no way. I didn't know. And it took a lot of brute force, right? Like, it's like, Boom, 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 boom. Relationship failed. Relationship failed. Relationship failed. Terrible feelings. Terrible feelings. Terrible feelings. And like eventually you get there, right? But it's like that's terrible. That's a terrible method. That's shit. You should really be able to learn how to fucking like process your emotions a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that's something you should be taught at home and at school. And they don't. They really don't. But you can learn incredibly young. We're talking like kids can understand like, I'm angry, but I'm not gonna throw a temper tantrum now that I'm 6. You know what I mean? But when as a toddler, but it's like it's true though. It's true. You know, but like that's what that is. So, you know, and that's my issue when it comes down to like people. Like what I'm saying is true. They can be taught. They can be, but people don't do it. People aren't good people. They're awkward. And they're stupid. And they don't know anything. They're like basically autistic, even though they don't think they are. They make games up that they play between their social interactions, and if you don't adhere to their strict rules of game, and they're not, you know, and if you're too direct and you're too, you look like this, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? No, who taught you this arbitrary garbage? What the fuck is this? What is this? Who said? Who told you these lies? I need to talk to them. Meanwhile, it's like, you know, the whole fucking society, humanity. And it's like, I see. There seems to be some issues here. There seems to be some issues. Some slight issues here. Some slight issues. But it's true. It is. It's like I don't know what to do because it's like you go on Reddit. It's like it's just dead, nothing good stuff. Like a lot of them show their faces in the comments. You know, same thing with YouTube, same thing with Twitch, same thing with any place. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to be online. Oh my god! And then reality hits, and it's like they'll act that way in real life. Boom. And it's true. That's the problem. It's like actually true. I've seen it. You know, been going through it. Like it's just what the fuck. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. They do this and they act this way, and I act nice and I do my thing. By act nice, I mean I act myself. I'm genuine. Like you know, I'll be myself, right? I'm not gonna pretend, make up a persona or anything anymore. I don't like doing that. But they do it all the time, and they lie about what their real thoughts and feelings are. It's like, what the fuck? I can literally see you setting up for a fucking like lie. Like your body language tells me everything that's what you're doing. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm the weirdo? I'm an alien? How am I alien and weird? And it's like, that's what they are, though. But they do that. Like, what the fuck is this? But they are, like, everywhere. And it's like, I've gone through more than enough life situations. Been through more than enough social situations at this point. I've been homeless twice. I've been in mental health hospitals. I've talked to regular nurses. And it's like, then I have, like, regular just friends and regular interactions with regular people throughout life. And it's like, and then online, and I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And like, they're really shitty people. Like, you have to comb through haystacks to get somewhere. And I don't get it. I don't get why people do it. I'm not that desperate, and I don't care. I don't feel that lonely. I don't. And that's my problem. I'm like, oh my god, I have to like pretend that I'm like actually gonna care about this conversation now because they've said something that clearly shows me about the person that they are really. So that way I don't have like to put them off and everything, because that's like apparently like a social societal construct. It's like, look, you're a total dick, and I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm leaving. They don't do that. They're like, oh, okay, and they ghost your ass, and they do the same thing online. And that's what that is. That's what you're apparently supposed to do. And I'm like, why? You're weird to me. They're always so weird. And I mean that. Like, they legitimately actually really are very weird. Like, all the time. They're very, very weird. Yeah. And it's like, what the hell am I supposed to do about that? Because they're like, you're asocial to us now. I'm like, because I don't want to be around like a bunch of assholes. And I know that you are, and like I can't talk to you about like almost anything without becoming a teacher. I don't want to do that though. Could I do something else? Could I talk to you about something? What do you like? Tell me. Tell me something. Tell me something so I can get out of this. Let me just. I mean that though. Like, see, that's the problem. It's like I need to get talking about something like about yourself or that you enjoy. That way, I don't have to talk to you anymore, and you'll just fucking talk most of the time, and I can actively listen and put my input in. Maybe get somewhere, and the next thing I know, it's like I've done that enough, and then like you're really smart. You've exposed something. And I'm like, oh shit, what are they gonna ask me now? Fucking damn it. They always, what's your thought on this? What's your advice for this? What's the... And I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to go home. I want to go home already. I don't want to be here. I want to go home. 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 I just want a friend. I just want to talk to you. I don't know. Like, I know the friends give you their advice and everything, but it's like, now it's become like I'm a leader somehow. Suddenly, like, I don't want to do that. I just want to fucking talk and have fun. I don't want to do any of that anymore. All of a sudden, I've been given a responsibility, and because I'm very intelligent, all of a sudden, I'm even more responsible for things, and I don't like this. I'm like stupidly, like, suddenly now a decision maker, or like they want me to argue for my position when I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't give a fuck. I don't have to explain myself to you. That's not a thing I have to do. You're a weirdo that thinks I need to explain myself to you. That's a very weird position to have, that I have to explain myself to you. It's very odd. Like, I don't. Like, you probably grew up with parents that made you explain everything in all your decisions, but I don't have to do that. And it's like, you don't have to do that. But then like once you start doing that, then they're like off put by you. Like you're no longer a good person, and you're closed off or all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm shutting down and putting up a boundary because I said I don't want to do that. And now you're an asshole because you did that. And so I'm like, oh, great, another friendship lost. Wonderful. And it's like, why do I want to go outside and talk to... Oh, right, I'm a human that's like just like anyone else. Intelligent, all that stuff, but like, I don't like doing this. This is really annoying. Like, I hate talking to most people. And like my therapist, I didn't see it that way. And I'm like, right, fuck, shit, I exposed something. Next thing you know, my therapist is like listening to me on a lot of topics and shit, and I'm like, okay, this is happening, which is not a bad thing. Like, I don't mind like explaining my position and have people coming over to my position, but at the same time, it's like, I'm supposed to have a therapist, you know what I mean? And now I'm not. I don't have a therapist. I have someone that's just listening to me. So I have to go pee real quick, so I'll be right back. That's a whole thing. So that's kind of another reason why I don't do things very often. And like then I always have the other problematic excuse of it's cold. It's like it could be the perfect temperature and it'll turn into I just don't want to. I'm laughing about it, right? But it's true though. Got water. But it's true. It's like I have the perfect excuse of I have no money to go to like a bar, which is really the only place to go to around here, which I don't. I'm not wasting emergency money to go to a bar. I'm just not doing that. I have emergency money for like emergencies. You know what I mean? Because there are emergencies, and you should have money for that. Now, is it a lot? No, it's like $10 maybe, something like that. But it's like not, I actually haven't known. It's the quasi-quantum effect. How much money do you have? I could have between a cent to some other amount of money. Could be infinite. You never know. Someone have actually paid me for all the shit that I did. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, I don't think that's true. But like, that might be possible. But the point is, it's like, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, let's put it this way: you have $1,000, and you need to spend $800. But genuinely speaking, $950 are taken up by your rent. You don't have $1,000. You have $50. You have $50 to spend. You cannot spend $800. You have $50. Anyone that's like, you have $1,000. I hope they get slapped and then steamrolled over by a big old flat steam thing, and crush their head in. I really want them to die. You don't. You don't have $1,000. You have $50. That's what you have. You don't have $1,000. Anyone that's like, you have $1,000, you're never someone that should ever run accountants or books or ever budget for yourself. You're an idiot to the highest degree. You have exactly $50. And then you need to buy groceries, but you also need gas. So you're buying gas. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're buying gas. That's the higher priority. Gas gets you to your job. You need gas. You can't walk to your job. You can't do any of that. You have to buy gas. Because that's the position you're in. So really, you have no money. Gas is very expensive right now, so you have no money. It takes more than 50 to fill up tank, and you are empty. So you have like less than 3/4, but close to 3/4 tank. It's like, where am I going to eat? Suck it up. You don't get to eat. Fucking God. Did you have food before? Is there anything in there? No, I said, well, there are ramen noodles. Eat the ramen noodles. That's what you have. You have ramen, you're going to eat ramen. That's literally all you get. You're eating the ramen, that's it, man. That's what you get. So, like, that's what that is, Because the gas means more. Gas is going up in price. So is food, but, like, gas gets you to your job. And, like, you don't really have buses the way you need them. Because you need to buy bus pass every time, which is actually more expensive the longer you do it. But you could do it, but then you need to take into account cost of time. Cost of time is a huge cost. So it's like, let's say it's going to take you an hour and a half by bus to get to your job. Shit. And it's like, okay, so you have an hour and a half of time to spend on getting to your job. Well, you only spend $5 to do it. So a gallon worth of gas, maybe, where you are. But you also still have to pay your insurance. And you don't get time for sleep, so you need to sleep earlier. Which means you don't get time to relax. So relaxation is lessened, and you have to bear the cost of your stress increase. You hope that you stress relieve on the bus, but you certainly can't masturbate. You might get to watch or listen to some music or watch some videos, YouTube, something. And hopefully that helps relieve you before you go into your job. But you now need to spend an hour and a half to get back home. So in total 3 hours of your day is lost. Which now leaves very little time to buy groceries and very little time to make groceries into food you want to eat. And then you need to sleep. See? Right there. See the face and everything else. See, that's you. That's you. That's not me. It's like, oh, no. I'm paying for the money for the car. That's what I'm doing. I know what those costs are. Those are a much higher cost than people think. I've done those costs. I've been like, you know what? I'm on a bus. I'm just going to fucking make food. I don't want to make food. I need your groceries. None of these food. Oh my god, this is bullshit. I need to sleep earlier. I can't sleep. This is not when I normally sleep. I can't fucking fall asleep. I'm awake later somehow than I normally am? What is this shit? I have to wake up way earlier. Oh, you're gonna miss the bus if you don't do it. Oh, what about the fucking shower and everything else? You didn't. Go. Meanwhile, I'm so angry. I want to murder things here right now. Right the fuck now. Murder is on the mind. Meanwhile, it's like, you skipped a murder quite quickly. Yes, no, because typically you can't do anything else but just be angry at things. And so it's like, it builds up. You're not going to hurt anyone. You know that. But it's like, I'm that angry, that stressed, and I have no place to let it out. I don't have the time to. I'm going to swallow it, and I'm going to fucking keep going, I guess. You hope to get some food along the way. You probably aren't going to, because it's too much of an expense. Oh, so I, for this month, bought the pass. It was $30. It's not going to be... the 60 is half off, because it's 30, because you bought it for the month. Cool. It's only $30. I have $20 for food. When are you getting it? The grocery store is like legitimately an hour away. You gonna use that? Yeah. But you have your pass for 30 days, so like, go ahead, have fun. Okay. And then you get your pass, you go to get groceries, you have to wait for the bus. You're now the guy who has groceries on the bus. It's normal, don't worry. But like, still, it's taking up some space, man. You know. And if it's rush hour, and that's if you get off on time. Like if you work at 8, work up till 8 p.m. That is, then you're getting home at 9:30, and it's probably going to take you another hour, so 10:30, and take you another hour to actually get the groceries, because you have to get there, which is now 11:30, which then takes you another hour to get back home, which is now 12:30. Then you have to eat food right before bed because like you need to wake up on time to get there at your 8 a.m. Or let's say it's to 8, so you actually 9 to 8. So like, but you have to get there early, than that. You have to get there at 7:30 because it's an hour and a half to get to work with the bus. Oh my god, fuck off, no. I'm buying the fucking gas. You have to buy the gas. You have to buy the gas. Like, don't buy the food. Do not buy the pass. The gas is the right move. And that's the problem I'm having with people. It's like, people really think the bus is that big of a deal. And I'm like, the bus is currently too far away from my job. I mean, it's already 30 to 45-minute drive to get to my job with a car without stops. And that's without the rush hour traffic. So it's like, you have to buy the gas. You have to buy the gas. That's what that is. Anyways, that's where I'm at with budget. It's like, okay, so people tell you that you can go socialize and online too. And I'm like, oh yes, no, the online thing. I have the online thing technically. Did I just explain all the other part? Well, yes, no, but you have to fucking. It was espresso, which is not a charged thing, so it's kind of a hit or miss. Yeah, 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 and then I have to hope that they're willing to be emotionally intelligent enough to talk. Which is like, okay, so you push through, you do it. And it's like, with no motivation, my ADHD, my PTSD, the emotional neglect, mental neglect, and everything else that I've gone through. And I'm still working on, and while I'm able to have a conversation with someone that isn't shitty, um, now with someone that is. But you can do it. And I'm like, okay, sure. Where? For the things I'm looking for conversational friendship or more? Like where I'm in a rural buttfuck nowhere place and they're just gonna suddenly show up? It's like, so you don't do that. No! I'm sorry. It's like, I don't really want to try. I and honestly, the whole Rounder and Reddit debacle, like explained to me exactly why I don't want to. They know Comet history, they know all this other stuff, and I don't really feel like being not genuine, who I am, what I like, and everything else, by going, oh, it's a throwaway. It's a not my main account that doesn't have any of these problems. You know what I mean? I don't feel like that. I don't feel like being someone I'm not. It's like, you're not. You're not doing that. You're right, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Why the fuck would I do that? It's like, you're right, you're not. I'm not going to do that. That's what that is. Like, legitimately, I'm not going to do that. So it's like, I'm going to be genuine. This is going to come up. It's going to come up fast. I don't care if they go through my comma history. I'd rather them be there. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make a throwaway. I'm not going to do any of that. Come on, make a throwaway! It would make it so much easier for you to hook someone in and pretend that you're not who you are, and then you reveal it. Like all the rest of us, we're fucking insane, and we're just gonna pretend we're not. Don't even. And I'm like, did that work out for you long term? No, actually, we broke up yesterday, or we broke up a while back, or we're still together, but actually, genuinely, it's not great right now. So that's a thing. And I'm like, right, and how much did you not tell them about this thing or this need or this, boundary or something else? And then when you did, like, it was suddenly now weird that you have that, and like you shut up about it, right? Ooh, I didn't. Oh, okay. It didn't work out very well for them, I gotta say. Basing an initial relationship upon a lie, it seemed to not be very good. Ayo, indeed. Ayo! Alien face guy. The weird alien guy now these days, And I'm like, I'm living in a regular place in a regular way with regular feelings and everything. And now I'm alien because I'm like a normal human and they're not. They just all developed really shitty coping mechanisms and everybody just goes along with that being okay. And everybody doesn't say anything about it, which is weird. And I'm the alien. It's like, you're autistic. Don't you realize how autistic you're being because you don't want to conform to our standards? But you guys are assholes. Why would I do that? Why would I want to live that way? I actually value my time and my mental health and well-being and everything else. I'm not like you. I care about myself and others. You clearly don't. You're clearly willing to sacrifice that as a direct result for this loneliness to disappear. For a relationship to be there or something else. And I'm kind of a weirdo that's a little bit different, if I'm honest. Like, emotionally more intelligent and more mature. Mentally more intelligent and more mature. Like, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm kind of a weirdo, and I find it hard. Because it's like, I don't need to be intelligent. I like to be fucking mature and have all that fun, too. But it's like, I'm very much what I am. And I don't really like deciding to pretend to be something else. I don't mask. That's the weird part. Like, other people mask hard. And that's seen as being normal or typical, neurotypical, or not manipulative somehow, or okay somehow, or like they're not autistic somehow. I don't get that one personally. I don't get that. And the weird part is like I'm just a normal person. To my mind, like in my view, and anyone that talks to me too, I'm just a normal person, intelligent and all that other stuff. But then, like, I bring a lot more to the table than just being smart and kind and caring and everything else. And when I have support and everything, I can actually get a lot more done, which I don't have. I don't. Like I have a clinic. They're garbage. Like they're always garbage, all the time. It's really shitty. Like and I know I shouldn't say that, but garbage is garbage. They're acting freaking shitty to me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you're garbage too. See the immediate defensiveness that comes off in my mind. Like if they were to hear that, and I'm like, no, no, I don't really do anything except like allow for certain things, put up boundaries, advocate, in the right, correct way. Not being too pushy, making sure to follow up, all that stuff. But like, it doesn't work, and they're still shitty to me. So, and they are. Which is kind of a problem, and I've talked about it with my therapist, and that's one of the things that brought up I didn't see it that way. But like when you're in a rural place, like a lot of people are very normalized to destructive, toxic, negative behavior traits and patterns. And it turns out it's not just rural, it's really everywhere. And then it was like, okay, so what else is there that's going on? And like, right there, right? Like nothing. I don't have anything to do. I don't have money. I don't have a car. I can't get a job that I can work. I am SMI, seriously mentally ill because of my PTSD and other mental health disorders. And like a lot of that has not been like suddenly miraculously cured. Been homeless and more, and it's like I have done that. I'm like comparisons. Do you make those a lot? Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? You do seem to do that. Like, you need to stop comparing yourself to others. You're not the same as others. They're not the same as you. They can't do the same, and you can't do the same. That's how that works. So, like, that's what that is. And there's nothing I can really do except this, and I hope that, like, people show up. That's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's just not what that is. Like people don't just show up, man. Sorry, they don't. You don't. Like you have to continuously grind, and like even then, that's not necessarily something that I'm kind of willing to allow for my mental health to suffer as a result of that kind of thing. Especially with what I'm arguing for. Inclusiveness, non-inflammatory things, compassion, understanding, change of our idea systems. This is a problem. Like, what am I supposed to do? I can't do anything, really, to change the situation. Investing isn't going to suddenly give me tremendous amounts of money. I don't have money to really invest. Not to mention, gambling ain't my kind of deal, dude. Yeah, I know. Why isn't gambling your thing? I'm like, because it's not. I have, like, things against me on that one. Like, no matter what, whatever I decide to try and gamble towards, like, it just seems to crash intentionally. So, like, no, whatever that is just never works. That's just what that thing is. Which is kind of a problem. It's one of the reasons why I, like, tweeted about certain bets. I'm like, alright, since they like to fuck me over on bets, we're gonna make this work for me. Which is nice, because, like, then at the very least they'll do something, you know? They'll, you know, the whole thing. Because it's like, well, you never know what's there, right? People really don't seem to ever take that into account. Like, you never know. It's unlikely to some people. To others, it's very likely. You know, why not give it a shot? The fuck are you angry about me doing that for? How are you fucked up in the head if you think you getting angry about someone is going to change anything? That's one of the reasons I'm like, whatever, I guess, sure. That's really what that is to me. I'm bored usually about that. If I'm honest, I'm really, really quite bored. Most of the time, and I have to deal with like a lot of my own mental health issues and struggles all day. But I still work on my concepts and stuff. I still struggle with a lot of other things coming in, either feelings, thoughts, or some connected things. Schizophrenia. To them, it's schizophrenia. You know, which is not. Diagnosed other things, but like no. But you know, that's what they want to believe, and actually that's still an accepted way of treating it and going through life. It's genuinely yeah. I got taught it in my post mental health stay, whatever that is called, post treatment, or after outpatient. There we go. Yeah, outpatient. Like where they go about like how it could be like these other things, and I was like scoffing at that at the time, like I'm super logical minded, none of that's a thing. And then you like think about it quantumly, like the entanglement styles, the possibility of like having a quantum tunnel effect over distance, a wormhole effect through a shared protein that's going on with people. There's the fact that like birds see electromagnetic fields, which is just a quantum field effect that it's interacting with, and it emits a photon. It's like, you're lying too, and I'm like, no, but like have fun with that one, whoever you are. Like, I hope that you die. Which I know I felt that same energy back. I hope you die too, pedophile defender. I'm like, see the paramoralism. You know what I mean? See the paramoralism? Hey, you're this thing that's trying to advocate for people having, feelings and thoughts and are good people, even if they don't do anything to anyone else. But just because they feel something, they're not automatically bad. But you acting like that and saying shit like that, I really hope you die. Because you're a shitty person. You're acting like a shitty person. I really hope that you die. And they're like, no! You are! Yeah, it's the literal meme. No, you! No, you! Yeah, reverse Uno thing. No! I have fun here. You have no idea. I anger them all the time. They're so stupid. It's so easy to do it. They're so overreactionary. And it's like they're mostly just the ones on Reddit and like, 4chan and all that other stuff. They're all garbage, man. It's super funny to watch them just... I out. You know, like they full on turf. You know, apparently that's the new word for social justice warrior, which used to be white knight keyboard warrior back in the day for like us millennials that are in our 30s. Like nobody remembers that apparently, except for like us. Which it's like, I know we're old, but it wasn't that long, right? Oh shit, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that was pretty old now. It's like, I'm 31! And it's like, holy fuck, I'm 31. I'm old. I never thought I'd hit 30. I'm ADHD. My mind always went to like a die somehow. Could never process that high. You know what I mean? It was like, there's no way in hell I'll make it alive. I'm stupid as fuck, or I'll have fucking done something that makes me like famous or rich or some shit, and like I'll suddenly be able to take on more and be able to do all these cool things and be a nice person that can like, you know, actually do the stuff that like other people do. Socialize and stuff, and you're like, ah, yeah, I'll make it. God damn, that was dumb hope. That was my brain most of the time. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going to suddenly just pick up this and do that, and my depression and anxiety will suddenly be gone, and all these, you know, ADHD problems will suddenly not be there. And it was like, who the fuck told you that? Me! And it's like, yeah, and you believe that fuckwad? He lies all the time. What are you doing? It's hilarious because it's true. It's like, you believe that? You're an idiot. It's like, you know, but see, the thing is it runs off of hope. Like, you have a hope that you'll get better. That's what that is. You're not an idiot for hoping about yourself getting better. That's a good thing. Don't be an idiot from that. You're an idiot because you never fucking examined the challenges that and you never acknowledged that you have these very real issues that you need to fix. That you can't just get around and get over, or like you're lazy, you're just lazy. It's like, no, you're not lazy, you have ADHD, you fucking asshole. Hey, wake up. You have ADHD, idiot. Hey, stop that. Stop believing that bullshit. Like, you'll just fucking, like, get it. No. Stop that. Hey. It's like, you're just gonna stop being gay and everything will be better for you. You know, if it was a gay person. Hey, no, you're not! You're just gonna stop being black. Just wake up, you'll be white now. No! What do you know? There's no way that's gonna happen. Stop that. You're an idiot for fucking trying to make yourself believe that's gonna happen. But you're not an idiot. See, like, you really want these things, and you know that that's what you have to, but you can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna just suddenly happen. You know, there's no suddenly being white, suddenly not being gay, suddenly not having ADHD. There's no that. Or mental health disorders. You know, you can't just fix them. So, you have to understand that. You have to. But, you know, I eventually did. But then I'm always dealing with whatever the hell that is in my brain. You know what I mean? Or others online. Or in real life. You're just lazy. You're just procrastinating. You're just blah, 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 blah. I even had it from therapists for a while. It's like, what the fuck? No, I'm not. What the hell is with this gaslighting? Did anybody else notice that? I even did it to myself. I was like, yeah, no, I'm just this. I'm just lazy. I could just do this. I could just fucking figure this out. This will just fucking make it work. You know, just pound my head against the wall enough times that I'll just fucking do it. Just gaslight myself. There's no wall there. Gonk, gonk, gonk. It's like it's a big, thick, not possible to ever get through wall. Whatever fucking material and however much thickness, I don't care. All of that. Just turn into neutrons. You go through it. So it's infinite. Infinite walled, infinite density, infinite whatever amount of momentum that's also traveling at just amount of speed, infinite speed, and so you'll never reach it. Meanwhile, me. That's the wall! You're gonna have to realize that. That's the wall, baby! Your boy have to deal with it. Your boy have to deal with yourself. You're going to. Come on. Come over here. It's okay, me. It's okay. I know. Cry all you need to, baby boy. It's okay. Life never gets better. They're always worse. It's like, it's true, though. Hate to tell you, it's true, though. Ow! Yeah, it doesn't really get better. Like, you can try and find people that make it better. You can try and do stuff that makes it better for yourself. But that's what you get. And life doesn't really get better. Life is what it is. This is what it is. It doesn't get better. People are still going to treat you like shit. People are not going to understand you. People are not going to have compassion, and they're not going to care. And that sucks ass. And I don't care. People don't care? Well, that's good. No, you want people to care, man. We're all like that. Most of us, anyways. You know? We like people caring about us. Including ourselves. And self-validation is great. I got that in spades. It's fine, whatever. Got that. It makes me sound like a cocky, asshole, overconfident bitch. You know, all the time. But, like, I'm not. I just am not willing to play the whole, like, I'm humble, self-doubt, and, oh, no, I'm not, I don't think that would work. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm not taking that for you. I'll tell you when I feel that way, but otherwise, no. You know, that's my issue with them. It's like, what the fuck are they saying anymore? What is this? What is this anymore? Like, do they really think like that? Oh, wow. Yeah. I have to, like, pretend like that? Do that kind of thing? But it's like, it's not pretend, but, like, most people play pretend on that. Like, that they don't have, like, this idea that they're right. Unless, you know, they're being genuine and they never think they're right. And I'm like, that's an you don't have any self-esteem or confidence, do you? Do you? Huh. You should really, like, go to therapy. You need some self-esteem and self-worth, girl, guy, whoever. You know, you need that. You need that struggle, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, people can be not confident, you know, but still, like, say, hey, look, I believe that this is probably going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. You know what I mean? And then they can just be like, oh, you know, I have enough knowledge that it turns into, like, I know this is a thing. Like, I just know that. Like, it's not like I just know. Like, it popped in. It's like doing the work mentally, logically, reasonably. It's that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, you get enough, like, ability, skill to be able to understand and know, or have a very, very high degree of likelihood that this is going to happen or be the case. So it makes you sound cocky and arrogant and all that. And it's like, you're not, though. You just know things. Other people don't know, and when you are intelligent like I am, it's like, oh, so now I'm just a cocky asshole that knows too much. Like a house character or something. It's like, you didn't say anything behavioral health text. And I'm like, yes, I did, but you weren't there, so have fun with that one. Although several people that were there could probably attest to that, if they were ever willing to say that they were, because that's an embarrassing place to be. And I could even remember their names, have their fucking number and everything else. Like, sure, yeah, sure, let me just get right on exposing someone for having been in a mental health hospital. Let me just do that to prove you wrong. No, I don't think I'll do that. Nah, you do you with your disbelief stuff. I'm not gonna do that. You're kind of a weirdo in every aspect, and I don't want to deal with you anymore. Meanwhile, that's how I imagine they're doing. I don't have this. I'm not the weird. I'm not the stupid guy that said something that clearly makes no sense for me or anyone else to do. It's like, yeah, you are. You fucking what? What? What are you? Who the hell said that that was okay? And I need to prove myself like that. What are? Hey, come here. What the fuck is going on in that brain of yours? Hey, you need to fucking stop doing that. Wake up. You're not in a dream state. You need to fucking realize that you doing that is really mean. You need to do that. I'm just letting you know. Anyways, I have to go put this into YouTube, so I'll be right back.